Like you made quite a profound discovery in my estimation, which was that values regulate emotion.
Yeah.
So then as soon as you make that discovery, you're stuck with a question, which is, okay, then what are the appropriate values
that make me happy?
Well, or even, well, if it's not happy, it's some other metric, because you could also question whether or not happy is the right ultimate value.
I like happiness. I know you're like, it's not about being happy, but.
Well, it beats the hell out of being miserable.
Yes,
if happiness comes along, you should be bloody happy that it's like lit on your stem for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then as soon as you get into that question, it's turtles all the way down, right? Like that takes you into, kind of staring into the void, so to speak, which you talk about in your work quite a bit of how you have to take on the responsibility to create something that's meaningful in your life.
Yes, or to discover it. That's one of the weaknesses of Nietzsche, I think. I mean, I'm a great admirer of Nietzsche, and I've never read anyone who could think with as much glittering brilliance as Nietzsche, and he's very dangerous to read because he's so unbelievably intelligent. He'll take everything you know apart, sometimes with a sentence. And he believed that we could create our own values, but that's wrong. We can't create our own values. We can discover them and we can co-create them. But, and you know this in your book as well, it comes out again implicitly. You wouldn't be able to violate your conscience if you could create your own values. Right?
Violate your conscience?
Yeah, because your conscience, you'll
lower this for me a little bit.
You'll do something that your conscience objects to.
Okay.
And if you were fully capable of creating your own values, your conscience would never object. You would just go along with what you'd proposed. Like if we were the sorts of creatures that could do that. But what we find very rapidly is we try very hard to impose our own values. And then it fails. We're not satisfied by what we're pursuing, or we become extremely guilty, or we become ashamed, or we're hurt, or we hurt other people. And sometimes that doesn't mean we're wrong, but most often it does. And so your search for bedrock, I think, is, and perhaps the fact that you never do come to any final conclusion, is definitely, at least in my opinion, so maybe not definitely, but in my opinion, a large part of the reason why your books are attractive. The millennials, you talk about the consumer literature that shows that people who have an infinite variety of choices are less happy than people who only have one or two. And you mentioned at the beginning of this discussion that the millennial generation that you're a part of suffered in some sense because they weren't deprived enough and had too many choices. The advantage to being deprived is that it's obvious what to do. Like if you're starving, then you eat. There's no question. But if you have enough to eat, and you have enough shelter, and you have enough information, maybe not as much as you could have, but enough, it starts to become difficult to decide what to do. And then you have another problem, which is that you can't decide what to do. And then you have to start to investigate value. And that seems to me, even from your autobiographical comments, seemed to be what happened with you, and obviously so many other people.
Absolutely.